Hello, everyone. How's it, Johnny? How are you?
Hi, Nero.
Baruch Hashem, long time not speaking. How are you doing?
Baruch Hashem.
Good.
How are
Everything
you,
going
Rolf?
well? Hallelujah. How's it?
How's it?
How's everyone? Is everyone well? Hello,
Baruch
Linda.
Baruch Hashem, everybody's fine. Thank you.
Good. So
We just
nice.
keep on going.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. We do
Yeah,
not have a choice.
I agree.
We have to carry on. We have to do what we have to do.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's cold, and
Sure. Tell me about it. It's cold.
I believe
I was there
that
at
tomorrow is
It's,
even cold.
I was doing, we were putting some lights in at Santon on the roof
Yeah.
garden. Oi, says me. That wind that cuts right through you. Hey, yeah. I said, hello.
Yeah, it is cold.
What else can you do?
Yeah, what can we do? Yeah. What can we do? You can't do a lot. Anyway,
Take the good with the bad.
I see that more people, I need to admit more people when I'm talking to you. Will admit all the
All right.
people as people join. No. More people joining because it usually takes
Good.
1
Takes a
minute.
few minutes for them.
Yes. Louis, do you
Yeah.
have, because you're going to read for us, I need you actually, do you have Sefer Devarim obviously with you? I hope so.
Sefer Devarim.
Yeah, it's the next.
Right.
It's the fifth book, because I'm going to bring source and I need you to read there. You obviously have the art scroll, am I right?
I've got the art scroll.
Okay, so look at Sefer Devarim, chapter 1, verse 22. Just mark it, and when I tell you to read it, you read it, okay?
Okay, hang on. Let me just find it here. Devarim.
Devarim, yeah. Sefer
Devarim.
Devarim, chapter 1, verse 22.
Devarim. Hang on, I'm going through them all. Devarim. Is it in
Chapter 1,
Devarim,
verse 22. Just mark for you the page, and when I tell you to read it, you'll read it, okay?
All right, it's 9:38. Let me get there quickly. 9:38.
Tell me when you're ready, and then we'll start. Okay. So רבותיי, בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירפיח. פרשת שלח לך, פרשת שלח.
All right.
Not an easy parsha. Before we start, I would like to dedicate the shiur in memory of my late mom, Esther Kaden Bat Ketzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, that's our friend Moti, Harav Avraham Haim ben Eliezer Yaakov, that's Rabbi Tenza, Tamar Bat Zeava, Rachel Bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon ben Farha, Dvora Ruth Bat Beila, נשמתם תהיה צרורה בצור החיים, ולרפואת ליאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרימה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב משה בן דבורה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, משה בן דבורה, חנה שרה בת דבורה, דבורה בת אסתר, ושלמה פנחס בן שינה פישה, וכל שאר חולי עמו ישראל. Please God, רפואה שלמה to all of them, speedily recover to all of them. Now we're going to do the introduction for
Rabbi, before you start, Devarim, at what, which number 12?
No, chapter 1, verse 22.
Verse 22, okay. Okay, Rabbi, I'm ready.
What's his name?
Okay, I've got it.
Chapter 1. Okay, you did. Okay. Let's start with the introduction. Let's understand what's happening in our parsha. So in a Wednesday, on the 29th of Sivan, on the second years that after the exodus of the Jewish people from Egypt in the year 2449 years for the creation, Bnei Israel actually demand and ask Moshe Rabbeinu to send to spy the land of Eretz Canaan. Eretz Canaan is Eretz Israel, and the spies gone for 40 days, okay? And the place that Moshe sent them, it was in Ritma. Ritma, it's also Kadesh Barnea, as Hazal explained. And the main reason that it's called Ritma, we'll see now, I'm gonna spend a bit of time about Ritma, you'll see what's happening there. The main reason that they call it Ritma, that place where they rested, where there was parking, whatever you want to call it, they stopped their journey. It's called Ritma because Hazal tell us in two different Gemarot, in Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin. Guys, please mute yourself. In Masechet Sanhedrin 24 verse 2 and the Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit 29 verse 1, that a person, I'll say it in Hebrew and then I'll translate it to English, a person, מי שמוציא דיבה ומדבר לשון הרע, נידון בגחלי רתמים. What does it mean? Hazal tell us that a person that speak לא עלינו לשון הרע, speak gossip לא עלינו, what happened to him, his punishment is with a hot coal. That means that they, לא עלינו in Gehenam, when he reached to Gehenam, they put him to be burned on hot coal. That's the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, Masechet Ta'anit. On Monday, the 9th of Av, in the year 2449 for the creation, okay, we see that the spies returning back after 40 days, Rabotai, after 40 days of spying the land of Eretz Israel. Okay, they come back to Ritma, they come back to the same place that called Ritma, that's Kadesh Barnea. Okay, now, these are, here I have to explain. According to Rashi, it was not on the 9th of Av, on Tisha B'Av, it was on the 8th of Av, towards the evening. Guys, I need to mute this. Okay, so in the 8th of Av, according to Rashi, that's when they came and they start speaking Lashon Hara. On that night, on Tisha B'Av, HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished the Jewish people that, a matter of fact, that they will stay for another 40 years in the wilderness. That means another 38 years. That in total, they're going to stay in the wilderness for 40 days. And that was towards the 40 days that the spies was in the land of Eretz Israel. Okay? What happened there? In Ritma, when there was in Ritma, that's Kadesh Barnea, that journey, they stopped on that journey for 19 years in Kadesh Barnea. Not many people know it. I saw the source from the Hiskuni. Hiskuni is a midrash that been written by Rabbi Hiskiah ben Manoach. Rabbi Hiskiah ben Manoach, born in the north of France, 771 years ago. It's a very ancient, very old midrash. And in his commentary, he explained that when Bnei Israel was in Ritma, they stopped their journey there for 19 years. And that's when they left to go to spy to Eretz Israel, the 12 princes. And when they come back, they come still to Ritma because they was there for 19 years. So we see from here that the journey in Ritma, in Kadesh Barnea, they stopped for 19 years. HaKadosh Baruch Hu later on punished 10 of the spies from the 12, and all of them, a matter of fact, die in one day, and that was on the 7th of Elul. HaKadosh Baruch Hu waited for them. And Moshe Rabbeinu actually stood up and davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never punish all the nation that cry, although that they've been punished to stay in the wilderness for another 38 years, okay? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu accept Moshe Rabbeinu's davening, and he said to him in one condition, that those that cry amongst the Jewish people from the age 20 to 60, they will die over the 38 years in a wilderness until they're all going to die, and then going to be the Jewish people can enter Eretz Israel. Another subject that we see in our parsha, late in the parsha, something very interesting, it's Parashat HaMekoshesh. Mekoshesh, what it means, a Mekoshesh? Mekoshesh is a person that gone and collect wood on Shabbat, or break wood and collect wood on Shabbat, okay? What happened there? We see that was a person that gone and collect wood on Shabbat and throw some weeds, drawn some weeds from the ground, and he brought in the front of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what should be that man's punishment? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a matter of fact, told him that the punishment will be with stoning in Skila. So that was one of the other subjects. Right in the end of the parsha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu command Bnei Israel for the famous mitzvah, it's mitzvah tzitzit. Okay, and the main reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu that he should command him this mitzvah, the secret behind it, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, and we read it every morning, I don't know if we take notice, that when you have a tzitzit, you remember all the mitzvot in the Torah. Where does it say? We say it every morning. It says, "Ureitem oto uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai." That means that when we look at the tzitzit, we're remembering all the mitzvot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay, given us. Also, that we're remembering them, okay? We're not seeing them, we're remembering. In Parashat Shelach Lecha, we have two positive command and one negative command. And now, Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll start the shi'ur regarding the parsha. Until now, we've done the introduction. We're going to start the parsha. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, שלח לך אנשים ויתורו את ארץ כנען אשר אני נותן לבני ישראל, איש אחד למטה אבותיו, תשלחו כל נשיא בהם. Louis, בכבוד, unmute yourself.
Hashem spoke to Moses, saying, send forth the men, if you please, and let them spy out the land of Canaan, and I'll give to the children of Israel one man each from his father's tribe. Shall you send everyone a leader among them?
Okay, here we see that Moshe Rabbeinu sent HaKadosh Baruch Hu speak to Moshe to tell him, Shlach lecha. What it means, Shlach lecha? Send for you. Rashi HaKadosh, you know what he say on it? Listen what Rashi HaKadosh say. Rashi say something very, very interesting. Im tertze shelach. Okay? Shelach lecha leda'atcha. That means, Rashi say, you want to send? It's up to you. Send it to your own description, to your own decision. You must send it. I'm not forcing you to send. I'm not forcing you to send a spy to the land of Eretz Israel. And it's very interesting. Why did Rashi say that? We have to understand what's hiding behind it. So if we look at the pshat of the Dvarim, we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from here we're learning that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't command Moshe Rabbeinu to send a spy to Eretz Israel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't mention nothing about the spy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu leave that decision completely to Moshe Rabbeinu. And we see that Moshe Rabbeinu in the end decide to send the spies. We have to understand what's hiding behind Rashi say. because it's not so simple according to the Pshat, and we'll see now what happened. In a book that's called Imre Noam. Imre Noam is a book that it's a shiurim that been given by the late Rav Yoram Abargel. Rav Yoram Abargel, born 67 years ago in Moshav Brosh. Moshav Brosh is in Eretz Israel, right down in the south of Israel, next to Netivot. And in his book, they brought all of his shiurim, and he explained like this. And he said that from the beginning, it looked like Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to send the spies. But he said that, a matter of fact, no. Moshe Rabbeinu also didn't want to send the spy. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to send spy to go to spy the land of Eretz Canaan. And he said like this, he said, if you look at Sefer Dvarim, in chapter 1, verse 22, it said like this, we learn that, a matter of fact, that it's the opposite. Moshe Rabbeinu in the book of Dvarim, in a book of rebuke, he said to Bnei Israel like this, he said like them, Vatikrevun elai kulechem, vatumru, nishlecha anashim lefanenu, vayahferu et haaretz, vayashivu otanu davar, et haderech asher na'ale ba, ve'et ha'arim asher navo alehem. Louis, will you read verse 22 in Sefer Dvarim, please?
Okay. All of you approached me and said, let us send men ahead of us and let them spy out the land and bring word back to us, the road on which we should ascend and in the city to which we should come.
Okay, so when we look and we read Sefer Dvarim, we see something very interesting. We see completely different picture to what we're reading in our parsha. That means Moshe Rabbeinu in Sefer Dvarim, he wrote the book of Sefer Dvarim. He said that the nation, Bnei Israel, actually urged him, and forced them to send people to spy Eretz Israel. Okay, and Chazal explained that the main reason for it is because the Bnei Israel have very little faith in about what's happening in Eretz Israel. That means that they didn't have a fully faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu yet. Why? Because he said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised the Jewish people the promised land, that's Eretz Israel. And the Jewish people, if they didn't have little emunah on them, if they have a full emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they wouldn't need to send spy. And the Mefarshim explain why. He said, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises you something, a land of prosperity, a good land, a land of prosperous, that there is nothing missing there, you should trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu because you know what he's doing. But because they have a little emunah, it wasn't good enough for them. So what did they decide? They decided, let's send a spy to check the land, to see the land that we are heading for. So what happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe, I'll leave it up to you. I'm not forcing you to send. Moshe Rabbeinu immediately understand, because Moshe Rabbeinu was up in heaven. And he knew if HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised something, it had to be good. So he didn't want to send. But what happened? Because Bnei Israel urged and forced them to send spies, he didn't have a choice. So he sent the spies. And we have to understand, Moshe Rabbeinu knew, and he had full emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why he didn't stand against Bnei Israel and tell him, what are you talking about? If HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised a land, there's nothing even to discuss it. There's nothing to talk about it. This is the promised land. This is a good land. This is a land full of prosperity. There's nothing to discuss. We're not sending spies. No, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't done it. And we have to understand why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't confront the nation. So I saw in a book that it's actually something beautiful. And he bring Rashi HaKadosh in Sefer Dvarim, in chapter 1, verse 23. And Rashi HaKadosh says something extraordinary. Rashi HaKadosh there bring mashal. Mashal is a parable. And he bringing a mashal, why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't try to stop Bnei Israel? Why they didn't try to tell them, listen, there's nothing to discuss. We're not sending any spies to spy the land of Eretz Israel. Rashi HaKadosh is there saying that when a person wanna sell a donkey, in their time it was a donkey, today you can call it a car, whatever you wanna call it. What is the buyer do? He come to the seller and he said to him, listen, I believe you wanna sell your donkey. I wanna check your donkey. If the seller show any rejection or anything, immediately you know that there is something wrong here. But when the seller said with pleasure, here's the donkey, look at him, there's nothing to hide. Then the buyer continue and saying to the seller, I want to ride that donkey. I want to feel the donkey. I want to see if he's strong, if he can carry. I want to try them on a mountain. I want to try them on a valley. I want to see how much power that donkey has. If for some reason the seller try to find any excuse not to do it, you know that there's nothing to talk. Say Rashi HaKadosh something extraordinary. Rashi HaKadosh say that Moshe Rabbeinu was worried. What is the nimshal? The nimshal is the moral. What is the moral? The moral is that when Bnei Israel came to Moshe Rabbeinu and asked him, Moshe, listen, let's send a spy to the land of Eretz Israel. Moshe said to himself, if he'll say no to the spies, to the nation, those people will say something wrong with the nation. Why doesn't want us to go and see the land of Eretz Israel? What's wrong with land of Eretz Israel? Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu kept quiet. Why? Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised them a good land, it's like buying a good thing. When a person comes to buy something and the seller very happy to show him, very happy to share with him the parts, or to show him the whatever you want to buy, whatever you want to call it, to show him the goods, then you know it's a good deal. Moshe Rabbeinu said to himself, if I'm going to try and stop them from sending the spy, they might going to think that the land of Eretz Israel, it's not a good idea. That means the land of Eretz Israel, it's not really such a good land. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu tried to play reverse psychology on him and said, no problem. You want to send? We'll send. I don't force you. I'm not telling you to send, but you're asking me to send, therefore you can. And now we can understand how come Moshe Rabbeinu allowed Bnei Israel to send spies to spy the land of Eretz Israel, the land of Eretz Canaan. Okay, when I say Eretz Canaan, it's the Eretz Israel. But from here, we have to learn very important message. And the message is that sometimes we see that there is a dispute. There is the majority and there is the minority. And say Hazal, and also many of the poskim say, from here you can learn halacha. Not halacha, but you can learn something, a bit of common sense, how to decide. He said, when you see a majority and a minority, they say usually, not all the time, usually the minority, they are the one that's right. Why? Because when the majority get excited, people can't see straight. People doesn't see what's happening. He said, but those, the minority, they obviously checked it, they looked at it deeply. And usually they're the one of the right. That means that the message is here, it's very simple. Don't be like a sheep, walk after the herd. You must be, open your eyes and see, is that what I should do or not? And Rabotai, look what's happening just in Eretz Israel at the moment. All the situation, you see that this parsha fit exactly to what's happening in Eretz Israel. the uncertain things amongst the leaders. I'm not a politician and I didn't come to speak politics. I'm just trying, because Hazal tell us something very important. The parsha that you read, that's what's happening in that time, in that week. That's what's happening, a matter of fact, okay, in the world. And we can see what's happening. But the world not so much interested in us, the same like Eretz Israel, because the eyes of the Almighty in the land of Eretz Israel from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So we see what's happening, the confusion that there is at the moment in our land. It's very similar that happened with Bnei Israel and the spies. But let's continue with the pasuk. And then it says very, very, very interesting words in a pasuk. It says, Ish echad, ish echad. One man, one man. I don't understand. Not enough to say one man, one time. Why is the Torah repeating the word one man twice? Why is that? So I saw a beautiful commentary of Rabbi Elbaz. Rabbi Elbaz, just to give you a bit of history about him, he born in the city of Tzofro. Tzofro is a city in Morocco. He born 251 years ago. And he was the Dayan of that city. And he says something very interesting. He said from that it say one man, the word man repeated twice, one man, come to teach us that the Torah here hinting to us from all 12 spies that going to go to Eretz Israel, only 2 not going to speak Lashon Hara. And who they are? We know Yoshua ben Nun and Kalev ben Yefuneh. That means that the Torah come and tell us by that it say Ish echad, referring to Yoshua ben Nun first. Again, Ish echad, referring to Kalev ben Yefuneh. That means that the Torah here hinting to us, that's the remez, okay? That only 2 people will not going to speak Lashon Hara from the 12 spies. Let's continue, and then it says words after that, Kol Nasi Bahem, right in the end of the verse, Kol Nasi Bahem. What it means, Kol Nasi Bahem? In Pshat of the Dvarim, every prince amongst them. What it mean, every prince amongst them? What it mean, every prince amongst them? Every prince, no, amongst them. So I saw a beautiful commentary that Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Hagiga in page 15, folio 1. Hazal say, Zachat Tzadik. Okay, a Tzadik merit, notel helko vehelek havero began Eden. A Tzadik that have enough merit, not only that he receive his merit in the world to come, in Gan Eden, also he take his fellow friend merit in Gan Eden. What does it mean? What did Hazal try to tell us? So, as Rabbi Elbaz continues saying, if you look at what Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Hagiga 15, folio 1, you can learn something extraordinary. You learn that because Yoshua ben Nun and Kalev ben Yefuneh, both of them didn't spoke Lashon Hara, the merit to take the share of the rest of the 10 spies, the 10 princes, okay, in this world and for the world to come. That means all the good things that they've done, all the good deeds. Who took it? Yoshua ben Nun and Kalev ben Yefuneh. Not only that, they take their share in this world and in the world to come. What is the message, Rabotai? The message is how much we have to be careful with Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is so dangerous that we don't understand. People say Lashon Hara. What did I say? I said the truth. Yes, the truth is Lashon Hara. Motzi diba, it's Motzi Shem Ra, it's telling a lie. So we have to be careful with Lashon Hara. How much the Torah put emphasis on it. Let's move on in verse, I'm jumping now to verse 16. Louis, verse 16, okay? I'm jumping quite a bit, okay? in verse 16, it says something very interesting. אלה שמות האנשים אשר שלח משה את הארץ, ויקרא משה להושע בן נון יהושע.
These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. Moses called Hoshua, the son of Nun, Joshua. Moses sent them to spy
That's
out
it.
the land.
That's it, Louis. Just that. We see in that verse, according to the Pshat of the Dvarim, that Moshe sent spies to spy Eretz Israel. But before that, he took Hoshea ben Nun and he called him Yoshua. What does it mean? He added up the letters Yud to the front of his name. Okay, what it mean, Yoshua? So if you look at Rashi, Rashi say, התפלל עליו, השם יושיעך מעצת המרגלים. That's the Gemara in Masechet Sotah in page 34, folio 2. Rashi said that HaKadosh, that Moshe Rabbeinu added up the letters Yud, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give him wisdom, will give him chokhmah, and help him not to follow the advice of the Meraglim. That means to keep him away from the advice of the Meraglim. That's Rashi HaKadosh. But we have to understand, first of all, where is the letters Yud come? So many of the Mefarshim explain that it came from the Yud of Sarai. Sarai Menu, at the beginning, her name was Sarai, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Avraham Avinu, Velo yikare shma od Sarai, ela Sarah. That means he took the letters Yud and now left enough ink, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu given enough ink to Moshe Rabbeinu when he wrote the Torah. So where is it came? Here in Yoshua ben Nun, they added up. Other explanation, I know also another explanation, where is that Yud came from? It says, Va'ish Moshe Anav Me'od. You remember we say, Anav you write with Yud, but when the Torah it says Anu, Va'ish Moshe Anu, but because Moshe wrote the Torah without the Yud, but we read it Anav, Va'ish Moshe Anav Me'od. So these two places that Hazal hinting to us, where is the letters Yud came, spell Yud, to add it up to Yoshua ben Nun. Okay, in Targum Yonatan, it says something very interesting. Targum Yonatan, that means Yonatan ben Oziel. He was a student of Hillel, and he died a number of decades before the destruction of the second temple. Okay, and he explained that the main reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu add up the letters Yud, listen to that, and that will help us to understand the second commentary that I brought to Yoshua ben Nun. Why did they call him Yud? Because Yoshua ben Nun was the servant of Moshe. And we know that Moshe was very humble. Moshe was the most humble man on earth, we explained in last part. What do you learn from here? That Yoshua ben Moshe Rabbeinu, when he saw that Yoshua ben Nun going to behave like with humbleness, he knew that's going to be a problem. Why? Because Yoshua ben Nun, if he behaved with modesty and humbleness, he cannot stand against, against who? Against the opinion of the spy. And a matter of fact, he might gonna say, you know what, let me give up. I don't want to argue. You know, whatever they say, I'll follow with them. So that's what it say, that Rashi say, and Rashi bring the beautiful Gemara in Masechet Sotah 34, folio 2, that David say, what does it say there? Hashem Yoshiacha me'etzat hameraglim. That means that Moshe Rabbeinu, the main reason that given the letters used to Yoshua, to Yoshua, to become Yoshua, that is that Yoshua can stand up and not give up. To who? To the spies. That's one opinion. But many of the Mefarshim say, wait a minute. We don't understand. Moshe Rabbeinu obviously knew in the Holy Spirit, if he add up the letters Yud, that the spy going to speak Lashon Hara on the land of Eretz Israel. Okay? So if you adding up the letters used to Yoshua ben Nun, what about Caleb ben Yefuneh? You knew that Caleb ben Yefuneh not going to speak Lashon Hara. Why you didn't bless him? So I saw a beautiful commentary that it's actually amazing. And it said like this. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that Yoshua is a humble man, while Caleb ben Yefuneh, while Caleb ben Yefuneh, if you take his name, what is Caleb? Kulo Lev. His entire heart. That means him is a heart. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that Caleb ben Yefuneh was strong, and he had a lot of guts. He wasn't frightened, and he knew that Caleb wouldn't give up to the spies. Who he was worried about Yoshua ben Nun. But Caleb, that Kulole, that all of him is one heart, full of energy, and he knew that Caleb wouldn't give up. To who? To the spies? He said, oh, he doesn't need. He have a blessing from heaven. And also, Hazal tell us that when Caleb saw that Yoshua ben Nun got the latest Yud from Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu had up the Yud, what has he done? When they gone to Eretz Israel, the first thing that he done, when he entered Hebron, he gone to pray and daven on a grave of the Avraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov, and ask him that he will do the right mission, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu will give him Siyata Dishmaya help to do the right decision. What it means to do the right decision, we know not to speak Lashon Hara. And here we can understand why did Moshe Rabbeinu only add up the letters Yud to Yoshua ben Nun. That means that the Kadosh Baruch Hu will give him enough courage and enough wisdom not to give up to the spies. And Caleb ben Yefuneh didn't need it. Why? Because he was full of guts. He was frightened. He would say what he think. Okay, so now we can understand where is the latest Yud come, number one. Number two, why Dafka Yoshua? And number two, why not Caleb? And number three, why not Caleb ben Yefuneh? Let's continue to verse 20. And in verse 20, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu asked the spy a very, very strange question. Such a strange question that if you look at it just now, you'll see. And in verse 20, Moshe Rabbeinu asked the spy, Uma haaretz, השמנה היא עם רזה, היש בעץ עם עין, והתחזקתם, ולקחתם מפרי הארץ, והימים ימי ביקורי ענבים. Louis, verse 20. Louis, B'chavot, verse 20.
And how is the land? Is it fertile or is it lean? Are there trees in it or not? You shall strengthen yourselves and take from the fruit of the land. The days were that the seasons of the first ripe grapes.
Okay. If you look at that verse, look what Moshe, how he started. Moshe asked first, Huma haaretz, is the land, prosperity, shmena or razah, that means that it gives fruit or not. And then he asked them something very strange. Look here, hayesh ba'etz. What does it mean, hayesh ba'etz? That there is in that land a tree. And immediately all the mefarshim jump on that. The mefarshim jump on it and couldn't understand what it means, hayesh ba'etz. Did you see a land or did you see a country that there is no tree? Why did Moshe ask that question? We have to understand what's hiding behind it. So Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to bring two different commentaries. Why did Moshe say to them, Dafka a tree? There is a tree in a country? Because there is no country in the world that there is no tree. Every country in the world that I know, and I'm sure that you all know, there is trees in the world. So how come that Moshe Rabbeinu asked that, to ask despite, look if there is a tree in a country? So according to Rashi, Rashi actually brought the Gemara in Masechet Baba Batra, the Gemara in Masechet Baba Batra in page 15, folio 1, Chazal said that Moshe Rabbeinu asked the spies, Ayesh ba'etz, etz haim hi lamachzikim ba. What does it mean? Moshe Rabbeinu said to the spies, when you go to the land of Eretz Israel, I want you to look, there is a person that is kosher, Adam kasher, sheyagen aleim b'zchuto. That means that there is a person that is such a righteous man that doesn't do any sin, that he can protect the entire land of Eretz Israel. That means in his merit, we're not going to manage to conquer the land of Eretz Israel in a different world. And Hazal explained that what Moshe said to them, and what Hazal speaking in the Gemara, they're actually referring to Eov. Eov is Job. Eov was a righteous man. Eov never sinned in his life. And if you look at the Midrashim, the Midrash explained that his wife, Dinah was his wife. Dinah, the daughter, listen to that, the daughter of Yaakov Avinu. Dinah been raped by Shechem ben Hamor, that he took her as a wife. And Eov lost all of his kids, the son, the daughters. Not only that, Eov also lost his wife, the first one. Eov lost all of his money. Eov have boiled on his body. And when Dinah saw that, he said, Kiss Hashem, Barech Hashem. That means kiss Has v'Shalom. And he said to her, and he shouted on her, and he said, Rak hatov nikach. That means only the good thing we should expect from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Anyway, Job was a righteous man. He never sinned. So the Mefarshim ask, what's happened? How can it be that a righteous man like this have boiled, been punishment, that he lost so many kids, so many daughters, and etc.? So to answer that, the Ramah Mipano and the Ari HaKadosh in Sefer HaGilgulim, the book of reincarnation, explained that Job was the father of Avraham Avinu, Terah. And because in a previous life he was idol worshipper, a matter of fact, a manufacturer of idol like China, okay? He was the China of the world in that time when it's come to idol. That's what the Gilgul, when he come again, when he reincarnate, he become like Eov. So Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, see if there is in the land such a righteous man that can protect that land. Okay? That's a hinting that Moshe asked, one idea that Moshe asking who the spies to look if there is a righteous man that can protect the land of Eretz Canaan, and we're going to battle to conquer it. The second explanation that I saw, it's a beautiful commentary that brought from the Ben Ish Hai. The Ben Ish Hai is Rabbi Yosef Haim. Rabbi Yosef Haim, born in Baghdad, that means in Iraq, 186 years ago. I just want to explain to you that the Iraq of today, that what you see, the hatred, but many, many years back, from my father's side, we are from Babylon. It was a great community, a big community in Iraq, Jewish community, that actually was very prosperous. The prosperity in the Torah was giant of people there. Rabbi Abdallah Somech, great Rabbonim. The Rabbi Yaakov Sofer, that we all know, that's Kaf Haim, the book of Halachot, he also born in Baghdad. Many great Rabbonim that born in Baghdad. And the Ben Ish Hai explained that Moshe Rabbeinu, he said there, Ulkahtem ipri haaretz. Moshe Rabbeinu hinting to the spies, you should take from the fruit of the land. First, you remember he asked them, check if there is any tree. And then he said to them, don't forget to take from the fruit of the land. What's happening here? Obviously, Moshe Rabbeinu knew that there is trees. Obviously, Moshe Rabbeinu knew about Eov. Eov was protecting them. We'll see now what's happening there. Because the spies say, we'll get to it just now, we'll explain what was they said. But we have to understand that Moshe Rabbeinu suddenly said to them, take from the fruit on the land. 1 minute you ask them, there is a tree. Now you're telling them, take from the fruit of the tree. Said the Ben Ish Hai, something extraordinary. The land of Eretz Israel is a land of prosperity, prosperous. He said that it's so prosperous, and there is so much prosperity in Eretz Israel that every tree, a fruit tree, look like a mound of fruit. That means you couldn't see the tree. All you can see, only fruit. You couldn't see any tree. So what did Moshe Rabbeinu tell him? Hayesh ba'etz? Check it. Don't look at the fruit only. See that it's tree. That every tree in Eretz Israel look like a mound. But that tree, it's completely fruit. That means the prosperity that was in Eretz Israel and the prosperity that the land of Eretz Israel can bring, it's beyond understanding. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu tried to hint to the spy. Look at the tree. That doesn't look like a tree, it looks like a mound of fruit. And that's the chokhmah what to look. But instead, we know they given the false report. Let's continue to verse 30. Louis, I'm jumping to verse 30. And here we see something very interesting. Look what's going to happen here in verse 30. In verse 30, ויעש כלב את העם אל משה ויאמר, עלה נעלה וירשנו אותה כי יכול נוכל לה.
Caleb silenced the people towards Moses and said, you shall surely ascend and conquer it, for we can surely do it.
Okay. Many of the Mefarshim ask, and that question that I saw, the question actually now that I'm talking, ask the Ari HaKadosh. Rabbi Yitzhak Luri Ashkenazi, born in Jerusalem 487 years ago. And he said that how come that Caleb quietened the nation? Where was Yeshua ben Nun? Yeshua ben Nun was with him. He gone with you as a spy. And we know that the two spies that didn't spoke Lashon Hara was Yeshua ben Nun and Caleb ben Yefuneh. So how come only Caleb ben Yefuneh is speaking and quieting the nation that Moshe can speak? Where is Yeshua ben Nun? Many of the Mefarshim ask that question. That question also been asked by Ari HaKadosh, like I explained. And he explained like this. Ari HaKadosh says something extraordinary. In the previous parsha, we learned that Eldad and Medad suddenly say a prophecy. And what was their prophecy? In the prophecy, they said like this: Moshe met. Moshe will die. V'Yeshua machnis et Israel haaretz. And Yeshua ben Nun, he will be the next leader that will enter the Jewish people to inherit the land of Eretz Israel. What's the connection? Say Ari HaKadosh, if Yeshua ben Nun will try to quieten the nation and will say, listen, The land of Eretz Israel is a land of prosperity. It's a good land. We should go and conquer the land. Immediately people will say, whoa, 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 no. You talking because your own benefit, because you heard the prophecy and Eldad made that, because they said that Moshe Rabbeinu gonna die, and you gonna lead us to Eretz Israel. Yeshua ben Nun was worried that they might gonna be suspicious of him, that he gonna be suspicious that all what he's saying is to push himself to go, because he knew that he gonna be the next leader. He wanted to fasten it. Therefore, he kept quiet, and he let who? Caleb ben Yefuneh talk, because Caleb ben Yefuneh never was in a prophecy, and he doesn't have any benefit. So the main reason that Yeshua ben Nun kept quiet, say Ari Kadosh, that he was frightened that people will say that you're doing it for your own benefit. He was so worried and so suspicious that Has v'Shalom people will say it. So he rather let Caleb ben Yefuneh quieten the nation and let Moshe talk, and he kept quiet. The Or Sameach, I'm going to bring similar idea with the Or Sameach. The Or Sameach was Rabbi Simcha Cohen Mitvingt. Okay, he born in a city of Botriminus in Lita. By the way, he born just before I explained, he born 178 years ago. And in his book, Meshech Chochmah, but before I continue, I just want to tell you, our friend, Hilton Kaplan, you all know Hilton Kaplan. Hilton Kaplan told me that his late mom used to see the Or Sameach, Rabbi Meir Simcha Cohen Mitvingt, in the morning when he used to go to yeshiva. She used to see him when he going to daven. She used to see him. She married to see him. And Or Sameach wrote a book called Meshech Chochmah. And in his book, he explained the same. He said that in a previous parsha, we saw something extraordinary. That in Eldad and Meidad say a prophecy that, a matter of fact, that Moshe Rabbeinu lo alenu will pass away, but Yeshua ben Nun will bring the Bnei Israel into the land of Eretz Israel. And the land of Eretz Israel is a land that's full of cities that surround. Inside the land of Eretz Israel was cities that surrounded with walls and difficulty. And Yeshua ben Nun was worried. Why Yeshua ben Nun was worried? He might not going to have the same ability and the same holiness like Moshe Rabbeinu, that he managed to conquer all of those countries. So come Caleb ben Yefuneh, and he quietened the nation. And he said to Caleb ben Yefuneh that the power that Moshe Rabbeinu got from who? From the nation. If the nation is right, that gives the leader holiness. As much that the nation is holy, the leader going to be much holiness. That means, say Caleb ben Yefuneh to Yeshua ben Nun, you mustn't worry about yourself that you're not in the same level of Moshe. The holiness that you're going to get depends on your nation. That was the secret. So Yeshua ben Nun quietened the nation to send the message to who? To Yeshua ben Nun. That means that Yeshua ben Nun, if he would quieten the nation, everyone would say, oh, he has his own benefit. No. Caleb ben Yefuneh quietened the nation to tell who? To tell Yeshua ben Nun that all the merit and all the strength that Moshe Rabbeinu got from the nation. So it was a message to who? To the nation and to Yeshua ben Nun. Because the people was worried how they're going to manage to conquer the land of Eretz Israel. Okay, in verse 33, I'm jumping now to verse 33, it says something very interesting. ושם ראינו את הנפילים, בני הענק, מן הנפילים, ונהי בעינינו כחגבים, וכן היינו בעיניהם.
There we saw the Nephilim and the sons of the giant from among the Nephilim. We were all like grasshoppers in our eyes, and so we were in their eyes.
Okay, here the Torah tells us that the spies saying to the nation that they like was grasshoppers in the eyes of the giant. Okay. By the way, Nephilim, what it means Nephilim? Bnei Anak, Bnei Nephilim. Nephilim is the angels. What it means angels? The angels come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you created human being. And they sinning. Why did you create them? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, look, in the land that I created, there is Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. And they say that Adoso, how can you create man? They sinning. He said, if I'll bring you down to earth, you're going to sin. He said, no, test us. And those Nephilim, when they came down, when they saw, Vayiru et bnot ha'adam, it says in Sefer Bereshit, Vayiru et bnot ha'adam, that means when they saw the woman, they already in mind, they already start sinning. So what it means Nephilim? Shenaflu. Naflu, it means fell down. That means that they dropped down from their level. Instead of become angel, become much lower, even less than a human being. That's called Nephilim. The translation of Nephilim, that they drop from the level. So here, the spy said to the nation that in their eyes of the people, the giant that they saw on Eretz Israel, those spies look like a grasshopper. But something very interesting. If you look at Rashi HaKadosh says something completely different. Rashi HaKadosh explained, Shama'un, that they hear us saying the one-to-one, that the spy saying one-to-one, the giant saying one to each other, Nemalim yesh bakerem ke'anashim. That means, Rashi bring again the Gemara in Masechet Sota in page 35, folio 1. There it's also the Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrahi also bring it. That he said that the giants saying that they say that there is ants in our vineyard, but they look like human being, like men. So immediately the Mefarshim asked, what's happening? The Torah tells us grasshopper. Rashi come and tell us ants. What is it? Why did Rashi go? When Rashi go, it's a matter of fact, he bring in the verse of the Gemara. Why does it say 1 minute, if the Torah tell us Hagavim, that's grasshopper, why there's another opinion that there was ants? What does it come to teach us? I saw a beautiful commentary of Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura. Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura, born in the city of Bartuno. Bartuno is in north of Italy, 581 years ago. And he wrote a commentary on the Torah. In his commentary, he said something extraordinary. He bought 581 years ago. In his commentary, he explained, and he tried to teach us here. He said that you learn, and Rashi brought us, is to teach us moral. What is the moral? He said, when people think about themselves like grasshopper, other people will look at them like they're small, like ants. That means the moral thing here that the Torah come to teach us, and Hazal in the Gemara in Masechet Sota, that people must never look down on themselves. Even you yourself, and Hazal also said in the Mishnah in Masechet Avot, Le'olam, forever, Al yireh adam atzmo kerasha. That means a person must never see himself like a rasha. That means that if you look at yourself down, other people will look at you like you're much downer, much smaller. That means Hazal come and teach us here important thing. That the Torah tells us grasshopper. But immediately people look at them, at the spies, like what? Like the ants. To be careful not to lower ourselves. Now I'm moving to verse 14. In verse 14, I'm going to jump to chapter 14, verse 24. Chapter 14, verse 24. Rabotai, verse 24. Louis, are you with me? 24.
Yes, I'm with
chapter
you,
14.
Rob.
You there? Okay.
Yeah.
And look what it says here. It says like this. ועבדי כלב, עקב הייתה רוח אחרת עמו, וימלא אחריי, והביאתי אל הארץ אשר בא שמה ירשנה.
But my servant Caleb became a different spirit was with him, and he followed me wholeheartedly. I shall bring him to the land to which he came, and his offering shall possess it.
Okay. I wanted actually to read 23 and then 24, so I just skipped 23. Let's read 23. אם יראו את הארץ אשר נשבעתי לאבותם, וכל מנעצי לא יראוה.
If they will see the land that I have sworn to give their forefathers, and all who anger me shall not see it.
Okay, here we see something very interesting. The Torah tells us those that anger HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have to understand who they are. Who they are. And then the Torah tells us that Caleb got a special, because he fought for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu given him a special spirit. That's on the pshat of the Dvarim. But first, let's go step by step, and Be'ezrat Hashem will try to explain. So who, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, those that make me angry. Who make HaKadosh Baruch Hu angry? Many people think it's only the spy. No, not only the spy that make HaKadosh Baruch Hu angry. Also Bnei Israel, those that was from the age of 20 to the age of 60, didn't merit to see the land of Eretz Israel. We know. And I saw a beautiful commentary that brought by Rabbi Avraham Azulai. Rabbi Avraham Azulai, born in the city of Fez in Morocco 451 years ago. And he wrote, one of his books is Hesed LeAvraham. Okay, in Ma'ayan Bet, that means chapter 2, Nahar Lamed Gimel, that means verse 33, he explains something extraordinary. He says something so beautiful, and he said like this. He said, from that verse, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu say that those that make me angry will never merit to see the land of Eretz Israel, you learn something extraordinary. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu that he's not going to merit to enter Eretz Israel, okay, he's not going to enter Eretz Israel for whatever reason, Moshe Rabbeinu pledged to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he want to see. He asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to see the land of Eretz Israel. So what's happened? Before, in Sefer Dvarim, chapter 34, verse 1, just before Moshe Rabbeinu died, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Moshe Rabbeinu to Har Nevo. Har Nevo, from there he saw the land of Eretz Israel. By the way, if you want to know where is Har Nevo, exactly we don't know, but we know that it's exactly opposite Jericho. Har Nevo is opposite Jericho. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Moshe Rabbeinu to Har Nevo and showed him the beautiful land, the land of Eretz Israel. Say, Rav Avraham Azulai. Rav Avraham Azulai was the grandfather of Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, the Hida. And he says something extraordinary. He said, from here you see that those that make HaKadosh Baruch Hu anger, and those that cry for no reason, that's the nation, because when the spy came and given them the report, what does it say in our parsha? Why did you cry? Because people giving you a false report Is that reason to cry? Say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you make me angry. I promise you a good land. You sent spy because you didn't have enough emunah on me. For that you cry. Not only that you die in a wilderness, that's not enough. You're not going to merit even to see the land of Eretz Israel. So from here we see how important even to see the land of Eretz Israel. There is certain people that not even merit to see it. These people that merit to live in Eretz Israel. Not only that, these people that merit to see Eretz Israel. They see it. There is certain people that even that they're not going to merit. And that was what the Torah come to tell us. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, looking how people looking at the land of Eretz Israel. With what eye? If you have a good eyes, that means you're speaking good about Eretz Israel, yeah, you will merit to see it. Not only that you will merit to see it, you'll merit to conquer it. You merit to overcome all the difficulty and you'll settle in Eretz Israel. Hazal tell us, one of the things that difficult, it's Eretz Israel. Eretz Israel niknet b'yisurim. Eretz Israel, to inherit, to live in Eretz Israel, it's not simple. It's a lot of problem. I would like to move on to verse 37. Verse 37 in chapter 14, it says here something very interesting. וימותו האנשים מוציאי הדיבת הארץ רעה במגפה לפני השם.
The people who spread the evil report about the land died in a plague before Hashem.
And here we see something very interesting that Rashi HaKadosh bring Hazal and Gemara in Masechet Sotah in page 35, folio 1. Hazal say that the Torah tell us that the spy that spoke badly about the land of Eretz Israel, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually killed them with a plague. But what kind of a plague? The Torah doesn't tell us. So Hazal and Gemara in Masechet Sotah in page 35, folio 1, Hazal says something extraordinary. Listen to that. What was the plague? 10 of those spies, we said that they died almost a month later. How did they die? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a miracle that their tongue got so long, and it was so long that it reached his belly button. And he said that worm used to come from the mouth and penetrate the belly button and used to eat them until he killed those 10 spies. And Hazal explained the midah keneged midah, measure for measure. Why? They spoke Lashon Hara about Eretz Israel, about the land of Eretz Israel. They spoke Lashon Hara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the tongue long. And not only that, that the Lashon, the same Lashon that spoke badly about the land of Eretz Israel, that's Lashon, that same tongue that spoke badly, that tongue that caused their death. And how? That worm used to come out of their mouth and penetrate inside their body through the belly button and eaten them until they died. That was the plague, lo alenu. The Rambam, the Nahmanite, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, he born in a city of Catalonia in Spain 827 years ago. In his commentary, he explained what was the sin of the Meraglim. What was the Lashon Hara? What was the Lashon Hara that they say? The Meraglim say, Eretz ochelet yoshvea, that the land that eat is uninhabited. What do you mean uninhabited? When the spies gone to Eretz Canaan, they saw suddenly the Canaanite bearing all the people. Many people deceased. There's different explanation there, what's happening there. It's not for now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a special miracle that job that we spoke, that he was the pillar that protect the land of Eretz Canaan, die. So all the people gone and bury the deceased with Job. What's happening here? So I saw a beautiful commentary. What's happened in Eretz Israel when the Canaanites used to live was they have this kind of false or idol worshipping that when a tzaddik die, they should take all the people that died, they used to embalm them, and when the tzaddik die, when a righteous man die, they're going to bury all the deceased on the same day that the righteous man get buried. Why? Because he said the heaven is open. So those deceased that died many years ago, all of those deceases can penetrate to heaven with him. They have this mishuga, this stupid idea. So when the spies saw that, they didn't understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu done that, especially for them. That all the land of Eretz Canaan, the people will be busy burying them for 40 days, all the deceased, because it's take a long time to bury. Why? That they're not going to take notice of them, that they're spies. HaKadosh Baruch Hu done it on purpose, but instead, Meraglim look at it differently. Okay, so now we understand what was the sin that they said that Eretz Ochelet Yoshvea, that means that the land that eat is uninhabited. Or Haim HaKadosh say that something extraordinary. He said, why is the Meraglim didn't learn from what happened in the previous parsha? What happened in the previous parsha? In the previous parsha, we saw that Miriam and Neviah spoke badly about Moshe. We spoke about it last week. What did she say? Moshe Rabbeinu, since he gone up to heaven, he became so holy that he separated from his wife. Immediately, she got leprosy. She and Aaron got leprosy. The only difference that Aaron immediately got cured, while she had to wait, the nation have to wait for 7 days until she cured. Said the Mefarshim, say Rabbi Chaim ben Attar. Rabbi Chaim ben Attar, born in the city of Sali in Morocco 325 years ago. In his commentary that called Or Haim, he explained that when you see that when it's come to Aaron and Miriam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he punish her, okay, only after Moshe Rabbeinu gone. With the Meraglim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu given a punishment that they will punish immediately. That's me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he punished Aaron and Miriam, it was only after Moshe left. But when the Meraglim, with the Meraglim, it was immediately, because they spoke Lashon Hara about the land of Eretz Israel, to teach us how dangerous it is to speak Lashon Hara about Eretz Israel. I would like to conclude with something very interesting in chapter 15, in verse 41. That's the last verse in the Parsha, right, the last verse, chapter 15, verse 41. And there it says, Ani Hashem Elokechem, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I am Hashem, your God, who has removed you from the land of Egypt to be a God unto you. I am Hashem, your God.
Okay. If you look in this parsha, the parsha starts, I'm your God, Ani Hashem Elokechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, and it's ending up with the same, Ani Hashem Elokechem. What's happening here? What's happening here? And many of the Mefarshim ask, why does it repeat himself? Why the word Ani Hashem Elokechem repeat himself? First of all, let's explain here what's happening. Here, we're talking about the mitzvah of tzitzit. okay? But why does it repeat himself? We have to understand. I saw a commentary that brought by Rabbi Mas'ud Cohen el-Haddad. Rabbi Mas'ud Cohen el-Haddad, born in Morocco 221 years ago. And he said that from that it says, Ani Hashem Elokechem, you have to understand that even the Gentile, okay, they admit with the power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they admit the power of God, even the Gentile. But the only difference that they say that they have what we call ministers or an agent that speak in a behalf that litigate between them and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It say here, Ani Hashem Elokechem, say Rabbi Mas'ud Cohen el-Haddad, that you learn from here something extraordinary. But that HaKadosh Baruch Hu say that Ani Hashem, I'm the God, Elokechem, your God, okay? Your own God. It's come to teach us something important, that the Jewish people must never believe, Has v'Shalom, that there is some ministers or some agent that can litigate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Has v'Shalom. He said that from here you learn that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeemed us from Egypt, what does it say there? Ani Hashem Elokechem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he redeemed us from Egypt, he done it by himself. And we say in Haggadah and Pesach, Ani velo malach, Ani velo saraf. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself redeemed us with no ministers to litigate between us, between no agent to litigate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's come to teach us by that the Torah repeated twice to tell us that Has v'Shalom, that there is anyone that can litigate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Has v'Shalom, that there is people, that they ministers, that we have to pray to them and they will pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Has v'Shalom, to have an agent that we will pray to them like the Gentile do, and he'll pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Has v'Shalom. We should pray directly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one and only, and we mustn't have no ministers between, no agent between, direct us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we always will daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We always speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we'll ask him, Be'ezrat Hashem, that he send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, and he will build the Beit Mikdash speedily in our day, and can you hear it so?
Amen.
Now, please, any question, please unmute, and I would like to hear the question. Chavod.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, Antonio.
It says in the tzitzit, the kanaf b'tiot chelet. What is this blue, this tiot chelet? And it seems like we don't use the blue anymore. We don't have that on our tzitzit anymore. The blue. What is that? What is the blue?
Yeah. So the blue, it's kind of a hilazon. Hilazon, it's a special fish that live in a sea, that in a time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Beit HaMikdash was, they knew that there is a hilazon. It's a special fish. It's kind of a fish. It's kind of an animal, let's call it, that live in a sea, that the blood, you take the blood and you put it on a string and it's become the same color of the heaven. You follow? But today, because we don't know which animal is that, we can't do it. So what certain people do, because it's a petil techelet, what do? They take the string, one of the string, and they paint it, one string. Is it true or not? Obviously not, because it's not the real techelet. Because the techelet come from hilazon. Yesh hilazon, Rashi explained, that there is a special hilazon, it's a special element that live in a sea. Some people say it's a fish, all different opinions. You follow? But because we don't know today, we can't paint the tzitziot. You follow?
Rav, can I say something?
Thanks very
on
much.
this? Rav, can I say something? Rav Herzog, who was the first chief rabbi, of modern Israel after Rav Kook. So he did a whole thesis on Tcheles. And his grandson, Bougie Herzog, was just appointed the next president of Israel on Wednesday.
And I'll tell you something. And I'll tell you something even newer. That when his father was a president, before he became the president, he used to be one of the what do you call it, the political guy. And one year they gone to America, the family, and they gone to the Rebbe. Why am I telling you the Rebbe? Because your brother loved the Rebbe and you also love the Rebbe.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? He gone to the Rebbe, his father. And when he got to the Rebbe, the said to the son that now becomes the president, I want you to come with me. And the son said that his father doesn't have any emotion. He wasn't a person that have a lot of emotion. He kept his emotion inside. But when it's come to the Rebbe, he explained all the history that his grandfather knew the Rebbe and the grandfather knew the Rebbe. They start speaking because they knew each other, because he was with the chief Rabbi Herzog and the Rebbetzin Herzog. He said that he remembered them and they were speaking. And he said that I want you to bless my son. And he said to his son, it's so important that the Rebbe will bless you. For me, it's the most important. And the Rebbe blessed him that he will fight for the Jewish people. And there is that in the United Nations, how he tear the paper. You remember that? I'll send you the video.
Sure.
That's how he becomes so famous. You understand now?
Unbelievable, right? Wow.
Yeah. Any other question regarding the Parsha? Dr. Les, give us some news about what's happening in Eretz Yisrael.
So we're going to have, it's amazing, because Bougie, or the son of Chaim Herzog, was nominated to be the next president, and his grandfather was the chief rabbi, and he's got a very close kesher with Yiddishkeit. And then...
Sorry. Ivor, please mute yourself. Please, Ivor. Please mute.
I think this is better. And then what's happening is that it was only last night at just before it expired for Yair Lapid at 11:24 that they phoned Rivlin to say that he can form a coalition. And it's incredible because the first time we're going to be having a frum, somebody wearing a yarmulke, who actually became frum through Chabad in Haifa. He was born in Haifa. Naftali Bennett. He was actually, his parents are American. They made Aliyah, and he was born in Haifa, and he became frum through Chabad. It's incredible in Haifa. So we're going to have a frum prime minister. It's just unbelievable that you have somebody who's very right wing and who loves Eretz Yisrael and who's fought for Eretz Yisrael and was an officer in special forces for the IDF. He's advocated always strongly for Medinat Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. In the same coalition, you've got somebody from Meretz or somebody from Labour or the extreme left wing. And they've got Mansour Abbas, who's the first time you're going to have an Arab, somebody from the Arab party inside, who's part of the coalition in a way. But Bibi was the one who actually brought Mansour Abbas. He was the one who actually initially asked him if he would one day join with his coalition. So amazing things happen here. Israel is unique in the world, and it's just amazing that Bezrat Hashem that we will have this for the best of the people. We just hope that it won't impact badly on the religious.
Sorry, Dr. Les, sorry to cut you, but from what I understand, they didn't form yet a coalition. It didn't confirm.
And things can change.
Negotiating.
They're still negotiating. And Auerbach, who is in the Yamima, he's not everybody's so keen. So people inside Bennett and Shaket's party aren't so keen.
They're not so keen yet about this coalition. There's a bit of, from what I understand,
you have
not agreement. So it's not confirmed
No.
that that's going to be the
No. It's not confirmed.
our failure. I would like to
Yeah.
take everyone just to wish you all, you hardly can see me because it's dark. I would like to end up the show by wishing all of you Shabbat Shalom. Keep well, keep safe. Dr. Les, thank you for all the update. Unfortunately, because living in South Africa, we have a lot of power cut. To take the opportunity to wish you all Shabbat Shalom, all of you, and please God, we'll see Mashiach speedily in our day. Have a good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Have a good Shabbos, Rolf. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.